Welcome, guys, to the Deviant Core podcast. And today, I promise I'm going to keep it short. Today's a special day for me. I got to spend it with a special someone. So, I want to share a special message with you guys. And I think this message is one of the things that we find easily lost as we get swept up in the currents of life right now. When you look out in the media, what do you see? You see headlines of, people who either did something to antagonize one side or did another thing to antagonize the other side, and everyone argues and splits off into your corners over things that really shouldn't really affect them, and it personally doesn't even affect them, because when they pay attention to things that don't affect them, it distracts them from the effects that are actually affecting them, the policies and things that are actually affecting them. So it's one of those things that this message that I want to share with you, it's going to help you guys interact with your fellow human being a lot better. It's going to help relationships between you being able to develop a connection, some semblance of a connection again with another human being, right? And that's not taking things personally. That's right. That's a superpower. That's a superpower that we all should be talking about right now. That we should not be taking things too personally. Because here's what that does. And we live in the perfect era for this. The perfect era. Taking things personally comes in multiple different forms, right? Let's say you're driving down the highway, and on an entrance ramp someone comes in and cuts you off, right? They cut you off. What are your immediate feelings? What are your immediate thoughts going to be? They're going to be, oh my God, this person cut me off. I cannot believe it. How dare they? How dare they? They must have done it to spite me. They must have done it to piss me off, because good job, it worked. I'm mad. I'm mad as all hell now. Right? And that ruins the rest of your day. It ruins your drive to work, and then you take that energy and ruin someone else's day. Right? It can even come in another form, in the sense of, someone gives you a compliment, right? They give you a compliment in a certain way that is they're used to from where they're from, but for you it's completely different. You've never heard it said in that form or manner, so you take it as offensive, right? And you're like, oh my God, that person must be out to get me. Why would he say it that way? Why would he say what he said to me that way, unless he was coming after me? It can also come in the form of, let's say we see a post online, right? Let's say our most favorite man in the world that everybody likes to talk about, everybody, including the media, your mom, your dad, your grandma, hell, even your 5-year-old nephew wants to talk about it now. The one man, even the mention of this man's name sends people into a freaking triggered mess, right? It personally affects them. He puts a tweet out, all of a sudden the world's on fire, right? Because every single one of those people take that tweet and say, man, why would he say that? Why would he say that on Twitter? Why would she say that on Twitter? Why would they say that about me on Facebook? Why would she put that comment on like that? I'm sure y'all know a person. Maybe a couple trolls, right? And you take that personally. You take that as a personal attack against you, right? And you keep asking your question, well, why is this person after me? Why does it feel like this person after me? And that's the wrong question to be asking. The right question you should be asking is, why does it affect you in that way? Why does a comment like that, or an action that someone takes, let's say cutting in front of you, why do I automatically assume that that person is after me? And that's the right question you should be asking. And here's the answer. The answer is because we're stuck in our own heads. Every single one of us, we're stuck in our own heads. And realistically, it's by design. If we're gonna be real, it's by design. Human beings were naturally selfish creatures. We are naturally selfish creatures. So to us, everything is us centered. We're in our own universes. We don't help. We don't even know what's going on across the country. Even not even. We don't even know what's going on the other side of the neighborhood over there. As long as it's not affecting us in our own world that we live in right now, it don't matter. That's the world we live in. Everyone's in their own heads. So when they see someone who is, let's say, from a different background that interacts with them in a way that they're not used to, they might take certain bits of that or offense to certain bits of that, or they might even take it to a completely different way. But most people end up taking that personally, and then they let that affect them. See, here's the thing. We ought to start. We tend to forget that us as human beings, we're animals, right? If we look at a dog, we look at how it barks. We look at how it does tricks. We look at how it runs, it jumps, it does all the stuff a dog does, right? We look at a dog, and there's no mistakable fact that those characteristics that we see are of a dog. So when we look at human beings, like, why don't we look at human beings the same way? Why don't we look at a human being and say, hey, that person, let's say they're just driving and they cut us off. Maybe they're late. Maybe they're late for work. Yeah, it sucks they cut me off, almost caused an accident. But I'm sure they didn't do it to just personally spite me. Hell, they don't even know me. Or maybe that comment that I saw on Facebook that elicited such an emotional reaction out of me. Maybe that person was just posting because that's what that person posts. And maybe to their group that's what it is. Maybe it's not a personal attack against me because that person doesn't really know me. Unless someone is in your face and they're actively trying to take something from you, you shouldn't be taking it personally. You can't be taking what people do personally. Because here's a big secret. And it's a secret that society likes to kind of keep from us, but it's an open secret. And the reason why it's an open secret, because it has a lot to do with our nature as human beings. And that is, no one cares. No one cares about you. And no, I'm not saying that to be negative. I'm not saying that. And here's what I mean. What I mean by that is, realistically, everyone else, just like you, is in their own universe. Yeah, sometimes when they interact with you, your universe and their universe combines. You have certain kind of interactions, whether positive or negative. But realistically, after they leave that interaction, they go off in their own universe. And guess what they're thinking about? Themselves. Human beings, we are naturally selfish. So when someone makes an action or takes an action, you can't react in a negative way and assume it's attack against you, because that person is doing what a human does. Just like a dog does what a dog does. So when we take that first lens and we look at it through that first lens, we look at that behavior through just that pure filter, and we don't assign our emotional notions to it. It allows for us to objectively look at the situation for what it is and make rational judgments in how we act to it. And notice I said act, not react. Act. That's what happens when you don't take things too personally. That's what happens when you understand that no matter what, people are going to go off to do their thing and they're not going to be thinking about you. They're not going to be worried about you. And the reason why they're not going to be doing any of those things is because they have their own problems to deal with. And that's the truth. Just like you. When you get off the phone with your mom, guess what? You're thinking about what you want to do, have for dinner. You're thinking about where you want to go. You're thinking about what you're going to do next. You're not thinking about, your mother. You're not thinking about, hell, some of y'all not even thinking about your grandma down the street. And she lived right down there. See what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you're worried about you. So that's what we should be doing. Focusing on what really matters, which is you, where you're going to go from here. Because if you think about all the craziness that we're having right now, all the nonsense that's going on, that is a direct result of people not only taking things personally, they're taking it as a deep personal attack against them, but they're people who haven't figured themselves out and really know what in the world they want in the world, out of this world. They don't have a purpose. Think about it. If they did, they wouldn't be out there. They would understand that chasing your purpose, it's hard because life throws a lot of challenges at you. And if I want to win, if I want to beat this game, I got to be ready. I got to be focused. I ain't got time for all this mess. I ain't got time to pay attention to what he's saying on Twitter, what she's saying on Facebook. Wait, what is that? What is that? What did he say? I ain't got time for that. Because I know where I'm going. But a lot of the people you see out there, they don't know. They don't know. So, because they don't know, they pay attention to the things that don't matter. And in order to keep themselves involved in the things that don't matter, they have to take it as a personal attack against them, because then it gets their emotions involved in that. And that's a trap. It's a big trap. So we all have to start learning that, hey, no matter what, if people just do what people do out of just a pattern of behavior, as people behave, fine. I'm not going to assign a personal emotional lens to it. I'm just going to assign that person's an individual and they're behaving and doing what a human does. Okay? And I'm going to go off and do my thing and not pay 2 cents to it. Because your time is important. It's more important than money. Matter of fact, that is what literally people want in order to basically make money. They want your attention. They want your time. A lot of us now, we have to start guarding our time. We have to start realizing what it is that's important and start putting our valuable time and attention towards that. Because the more and more we allow our focus to be stripped away from what's important, the easier it is for things to get slipped through the cracks. The easier for the division to occur. The easier for things to happen that seem out of random, but ain't really random at all. So how do you start doing this? It's pretty simple. It's very simple. Move on with your life with the knowledge of, I need to do me. I need to figure out what's important. I need to figure out where I'm going, what my purpose is, why I'm here, why I get out of the bed. I need to figure that out. Fuck all this BS. What is it that I want? And once you start walking down your own path, once you've made that choice, it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. Once you decide to make that choice, that's when you know. That's when you start to see things a little bit differently. And you start to see people a little bit differently too. You start to see people who are still stuck in that old way of thinking. Still thinking that, this chaos and choosing sides and not thinking for ourselves is the proper path to go because it's the easiest, rather than taking the road less traveled. So be that person to take the road less traveled. Be unique, be different, be strong. And with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. Take it easy.